I never thought I'd be that person, the one spilling their heartbreak online, but here I am. Maybe it's just catharsis, or maybe it's because no one in my real life can understand what I'm going through. I was supposed to marry Alex last weekend. We planned it for months, picking out every detail, dreaming of forever. It felt real, stable, like nothing could shake us, until I found out the truth. It started with a strange feeling, a nagging suspicion that something wasn't right. I didn't want to believe it, not really. But then I noticed the small things, him canceling plans last minute, avoiding my phone, acting cagey. It was subtle at first, like he was trying to hide something. I brushed it off, telling myself I was paranoid. But that gut instinct kept gnawing at me. The night before the wedding, I was tidying up the apartment. Nothing special, just my usual ritual, picking up, arranging little mementos, trying to keep busy. That's when I noticed it. A notification on his phone, a message. I froze, heart pounding like a drum in my chest. I hesitated, then unlocked his phone. The message was from someone named Tess, and it wasn't just a friendly chat. It was flirty, intimate, with emojis I'd never seen before, flirty winks, hearts, teasing. My stomach sank. My hands started to shake. I scrolled up and saw more. Hours and hours of messages, some of which I swear I'd never seen before. They were talking about plans, about meeting up, about being careful. But what broke me wasn't just the words. It was the screenshots. Hidden among the texts, there were two screenshots of a private chat, and both conversations were still visible. I stared at the screen, feeling like I'd been punched in the gut. I could see of Tess in her lingerie, of Alex smirking with that stupid, arrogant look he always has when he's up to something. It was raw, real. I could almost hear the whispers of betrayal echoing in my ears. How long had this been going on? Days? Weeks? And they both forgot to delete the proof. I felt dizzy, a rush of heat in my cheeks, a fog of shock and fury swirling inside me. My hands trembled as I gripped the phone. I wasn't sure if I wanted to scream or cry. Part of me wanted to run and hide, but another part, dark and cold, knew I'd been played. I looked at the screen again, trying to catch my breath. How could he do this right before our wedding? How could he betray me like this? I whispered into the emptiness of the apartment. It felt like the walls were closing in. Oh, I was hurt deeply. But beneath the pain, a quiet, growing fire started to ignite. I wasn't going to let this slide. I needed a plan. I needed to make him pay. But first I had to decide, what exactly was I going to do? That secret chat was just the beginning. I could walk away or I could fight back. I know what I want now. The question is, how do I make him understand that betrayal has consequences? The night stretched ahead of me, full of swirling thoughts and bitter resolve. I stared at the phone, then at the clock. Just hours before I was supposed to say I do. Now everything was shattered. The wedding was canceled in my mind, replaced by something darker, revenge. I would make him regret every lie, every stolen moment. This wasn't just heartbreak. It was war, and I wasn't going down without a fight. That night I couldn't sleep. The adrenaline from finding out hit me full force, making my palms slick and my stomach churn. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw his smirk, the way Tess had looked in those screenshots, so carefree, so oblivious to the damage they'd caused. I kept replaying it over and over like a horror movie I couldn't turn off. I needed a plan, not an impulsive reckoning. I'd had enough of those. I was going to make him feel the weight of what he'd done, but I also needed to be cold, calculated. I couldn't just explode and hope for the best. No, this had to be precise. It had to be lasting. First, I dug through his phone again. I needed every piece of evidence I could get, screenshots, messages, anything that proved their affair was ongoing. I also looked into Tess's social media profiles. I wanted to know if she was seeing someone else, if she was just as reckless as Alex. Turns out she posts a lot, flirty selfies, vague statuses, all that trash that screams look at me but hides secrets. I made some calls, quiet, discreet, to few friends who owed me favors. I needed someone on the inside, someone who could help me gather intel without raising eyebrows. No way I was about to confront him without proof. Revenge was a game of patience, and I was determined to win. The next day I started planning my move. I knew I had to be smarter than them. I wanted to catch Alex red-handed, but I also wanted to leave him with no way out. I decided I'd create my own trap, an opportunity for him to slip up, then expose him completely. I set up a fake social media account, something anonymous but believable. I started messaging Tess, acting as if I'd just found out about her. I pretended to be hurt, confused, and angry. I wanted her to think she'd been caught out. Meanwhile, I kept silent about the evidence I'd uncovered. I was building my case. I also reached out to a friend I knew had a camera, someone discreet who owed me a favor. I wanted to get footage of Alex's reaction if he saw a certain message. My goal? To make him realize I knew everything. To make him panic. Slip up, confess. In the meantime, I kept my composure around him. I didn't confront him yet. I smiled, acted normal, if that's what you call it, while inside I was boiling. Every glance, every word from him felt like a knife. I had to be strategic, not emotional. That's what revenge requires: calm, patience, ruthlessness. Late that night, I sat in my car outside his place. The engine was off, but I had the footage ready on my phone. I felt my chest tighten as I waited. This was the moment I'd make him sweat. If he slipped up, I'd have everything I needed. The plan was in motion and nothing was going to stop me now. I pressed play, watching his face as he saw the message I sent, one that made him realize I was onto him. His eyes widened, palms sweaty, voice trembling when he called me the next morning. "What are you talking about? You're crazy," he stammered. But I already knew better. His panic was just the beginning. I made sure to keep my tone steady, almost bored. "We need to talk, face to face. I want you to see I'm serious." That's when I knew I had him cornered. The game was on. Now I just had to wait for the right moment to strike hard, and not just with words. What I hadn't told him yet was that I'd set everything up perfectly. I'd expose him in front of everyone. His reputation would be in tatters, and I'd walk away with the satisfaction of knowing I got the last laugh. He thought he was clever, but he underestimated me. That's what will make this sweet, seeing him squirm, knowing I had outplayed him. Countdown had begun. I was ready to make him regret every lie, every betrayal. And once I was done, there'd be no coming back. The day I planned to confront him, I woke up with a stomach full of knots. My palms felt clammy and my heart was pounding like a drum in my chest. Every nerve ending was alive, alert, ready for the chaos I was about to unleash. I didn't sleep the night before. Instead, I kept replaying every detail, every sign I had missed, every moment that led me here. I slipped into my best calm face, the one I practiced in the mirror 100 times, smiling. Casual, almost indifferent. If I appeared composed, maybe he'd slip up even more. I wanted to catch him off guard, see the cracks in his facade. The plan was simple in theory. I'd confront him, lay everything on the table, and let him see that I knew. But I also had a backup, just in case he tried to deny or spin his way out of it. I had my phone in my pocket, ready to record the moment he'd slip. I knew he'd try to lie, dodge, or turn things around, but I was prepared for that. I also had a small bag packed with essentials, just in case I needed to leave suddenly. My mind kept racing, but I kept my face neutral as I knocked on his door. He answered quickly, that stupid smirk on his face. "Hey, you look good, what's up?" His voice was casual, but I saw the flicker of something: nervousness maybe, or guilt. I didn't care. All I knew was I had enough proof now. I stepped inside slowly, closing the door behind me. "We need to talk," I said, voice steady but cold. "Really talk?" I kept my hands in my pockets and my eyes locked on him. His eyes flicked nervously. "Look, I don't know what you're talking about. Can we just—" I cut him off. "Oh, I think you do," I said, pulling out my phone. "Because I've got screenshots, videos, and enough proof to end this relationship forever. Do you want to deny it?" I held up the phone, showing him the chat with Tess, every word, every emoji, every intimate detail. His face paled. "That's not what it looks like. You're overthinking. You're cheating on me with my brother, Alex. How much clearer do I need?" My voice cracked a little, but I forced myself to stay calm. Inside, I felt like a volcano ready to explode. He looked stunned, then angry. "You don't know what you're saying. That's just a mistake. I swear it's not what you think." "Oh, I think I know exactly what it is," I snapped, feeling my throat tight. "And I also know you've been lying to me for weeks. You thought I wouldn't find out. Well, congratulations, Alex. You got caught." I hesitated for a second, then added, "And Tess, she's not innocent either. She's just as much a part of this. I want you both to know I saw everything." He looked like he wanted to say something, but no words came out. That's when I pressed the record button on my phone. "Say something," I demanded, voice edged with a mixture of fury and pain. "Anything, because I'm done playing nice." He finally looked at me, his jaw clenched. "You're just jealous. You think I'd cheat on you with your brother? That's ridiculous." His voice cracked slightly. "Why would I do that?" "Because you're pathetic," I shot back. "You've been sneaking around, hiding your phone, talking to Tess behind my back. I can't believe I almost married a liar." My chest heaved. I could feel the tears threatening to come, but I pushed them back. I had to stay strong now. He looked defeated, but I wasn't finished. "You're going to regret this," he warned. "You think you can just throw everything away?" "Goodbye, Alex," I said, turning to leave. "You've lost me. And I'll make sure everyone knows what kind of person you really are." As I walked out the door, I felt a strange mixture of relief and emptiness. I had finally done it. The truth was out, and he knew I knew everything. The moment was ours now. I just had to decide what my next move would be. Walking away, I realized one thing: I was no longer scared. Whatever fallout came next, I was ready to face it. I had uncovered the betrayal, and I was going to make sure they paid for it. I didn't just want revenge, I wanted justice. And I wasn't going to stop until I got it. Next step, the fallout. And trust me, that's where things get even more interesting. The aftermath hit me harder than I expected. I thought confronting him and having the evidence was enough, but I was dead wrong. Alex didn't go quietly. He called me nonstop, left frantic voicemails, even showed up at my apartment unannounced. I ignored every call, every knock. I needed space to think, to plan. But inside, I was already formulating my next move. The first thing I did was tell my brother, Jake. I didn't want to surprise him, but I needed his support, someone who knew all the history, someone I trusted. When I called him, he was quiet for a moment, then whispered, "Damn, I had no idea. I thought we were close." His voice was thick with guilt and shock. "I need you to be honest with me," I said. "Did Tess ever mention me? Did she ever flirt with you or lead you on?" There was a pause, then Jake sighed. "Honestly, yeah, she'd make comments, little jokes. Nothing serious, but I knew she was playing a game. I never thought she'd go this far." That stung more than I wanted to admit. My brother, my family, the one person I trusted the most, had been caught in the crossfire of their lies. I told him about the screenshots, the recordings, everything. His voice grew bitter. "If she thinks she can get away with this, I'll make sure she pays." I felt a flicker of hope. Having my brother on my side gave me the strength to keep going. I knew Tess wasn't going to be easy to handle. She was manipulative and probably already spinning her own story. But I had the evidence, and I was ready to use it. Meanwhile, Alex kept pushing. Every few hours there was a new message or voicemail. "Please, just talk to me, we can fix this." I was stupid, I admit it, but I still love you, he begged in one message. The desperation was sickening. I wanted to scream at him, tell him to shut up, but I didn't. Instead, I kept silent, using the silence as my weapon. The real game started when I decided to leak everything. I knew I couldn't just confront him anymore. I had to make sure everyone knew the truth. I started drafting a post, carefully, slowly. No emotional outbursts, just facts. I outlined everything: the affair, the screenshots, Tess's flirtations, his lies. I wanted to hurt him where it counted, his reputation. I also contacted a few mutual friends, acquaintances, and even some colleagues. I sent them snippets of the evidence with a simple message. "This is what he's been hiding. Just thought you should know." It was risky, but I needed them to see the real Alex, the cheater, the liar. I knew some would judge him, some might even turn their backs, but I didn't care. I wanted everyone to see the truth. As the social media storm brewed, I felt lighter. The secret chat was out, the damage was done. Alex's phone was flooded with messages. His friends called him out, some even started questioning his character. I watched from a distance and felt a strange sense of satisfaction. This was my revenge, public, undeniable, and unstoppable. But the most satisfying part came when Tess tried to contact me directly. I ignored her for days, letting her sweat. Then one afternoon, she sent a message, trying to play innocent. "Hey, I didn't mean for it to get out like this. Can we talk?" I replied calmly, "No, you lied, cheated, and betrayed my trust. You're not worth my time. Stay away from me." That silence was deafening, but it was also the ultimate victory. She knew I had her cornered. In the end, I decided to take a final step. I drove to his place, keys in hand. His face when he saw me standing there, official and unyielding, was worth every second of the chaos. I handed him a set of keys I'd secretly taken from his wallet. You said we had a future. Well, here's your ticket back to reality without me. He looked stunned, speechless. You're really doing this? I am, I said, voice firm. I want you to remember what you lost. You threw everything away over a fleeting affair. And now you're going to lose everything else, my trust, our relationship, and maybe even your reputation. I turned and walked away, feeling a weight lift from my shoulders. The keys felt heavy in my hand, but they symbolized something bigger, my power to walk away and rebuild. The heartbreak still hurt, but I knew I was stronger than the betrayal. I learned a lot through this. Trust is fragile, but revenge is a double-edged sword. Sometimes the best way to heal is to cut ties cleanly. I refuse to let someone's lies define me. Instead, I'll rise from this, wiser and more cautious. And that's what I want to tell everyone here. Never underestimate your own strength. Sometimes the best revenge is walking away, making sure they know you're done. And never forget, you deserve someone who values loyalty, not lies. The days that followed felt surreal, like I was watching my life from outside my body. The storm I'd unleashed had settled into quiet chaos. Social media was still. Buzzing, friends reaching out, private messages pouring in with support and shock. I wasn't surprised. People love a good scandal, especially when it involves someone as manipulative as Tess and a guy as selfish as Alex. But what surprised me most was how quickly I started to breathe again. The pain was still there, raw and fresh, but somehow I felt lighter, like I'd finally shed a toxic part of myself. I didn't need their lies or their betrayal. I'd taken back control piece by piece. I spent the next few days focused on myself. I blocked Tess on every platform. Her messages no longer existed in my inbox, and her name was erased from my phone. I couldn't stand the thought of her trying to worm her way back in, pretending everything was okay. She'd lost that privilege the moment I found her in that chat. Alex, too, was fading into obscurity. His were whispering about his scandal, and friends were cautiously distancing themselves. I saw the looks, pity, judgment, disappointment, and honestly, I didn't care. Let him drown in his own mess. That's what he deserved. What was truly satisfying was the quiet that followed the storm. No more lies, no more games. Just me, reclaiming my life bit by bit. I even started dating again, cautiously but with a new sense of strength. I learned that pain, no matter how deep, could be a catalyst for growth if you let it. Still, there was one last thing I needed to do, a final act to truly sever all ties and move on with my head held high. I didn't want to leave any loose ends hanging, any lingering doubts or regrets. This was about closure for me. So I went to the bank, made an appointment, and the last of the savings I'd kept for emergencies. Then I took a deep breath and filled out the paperwork to officially change the locks on my apartment. I handed over the keys to the landlord myself, looking him in the eye and saying, "I'm done. I want everything in my name now. I'm reclaiming my space." It felt powerful to do that, like I was finally taking everything back, my privacy, my peace, my sense of control. I knew Alex would try to reach out again, try to manipulate or guilt me into taking him back. But this time I was ready. I'd already moved on in my mind. I'd say goodbye for good. Walking out of the office, I felt a strange mix of exhaustion and liberation. The betrayal still stung, but I was no longer caught in its web. I'd faced the worst and I had come through stronger. That's the truth. Heartbreak teaches you things about yourself, about what you deserve. My final step was sending a note to my family and closest friends, just a simple message. I'm safe, I'm okay, and I'm finally free. That was it. No drama, no fuss, just a statement of fact. Looking ahead, I know life won't be perfect overnight. Trust is tricky now and it'll take time to heal. But I also know I'm resilient. I survived this chaos and I'm ready to rebuild, better, wiser, and more cautious. If I could give one piece of advice to anyone reading this, it's this. Don't stay stuck in a toxic situation just because it's familiar. Trust your gut, gather your strength, and don't be afraid to walk away. Revenge isn't always about fighting back. Sometimes it's about choosing yourself over their lies. And that's exactly what I did. Standing here now, a few Weeks after everything unraveled, I can finally breathe without that heavy weight pressing down. The chaos has settled, and I've reclaimed my space, physically, emotionally, and mentally. I keep thinking back to the day I handed over the keys, feeling a strange sense of closure I didn't think I'd ever find after betrayal like this. That moment, when I walked into that office with the stack of papers and left knowing I was done with him, was perhaps the most decisive of my life. It wasn't just about ending a relationship, it was about taking back my power. I realized something crucial in all this. The greatest revenge is living well without them. I don't need to hurt Alex or Tess anymore because I've already won by choosing myself. Since then, I've been rebuilding my life, slowly but surely. I started therapy not because I was broken but because I wanted to understand myself better, why I stayed so long, how I let this happen, and how I could prevent it from happening again. My friends tell me I look different, more confident, more assertive. Maybe that's true. I feel it in my bones now. The scars of heartbreak are still there, sure, but they're fading. I've learned to trust my instincts again, to listen to that quiet voice inside telling me what's right. I don't second-guess myself anymore. That's a gift I refuse to lose. Looking back, I see the red flags I ignored, the small signs of trouble that I brushed off, the moments I forgave too easily. I realize now that healthy love doesn't come with complicity in lies or betrayals. It's built on honesty, respect, and loyalty, things I thought I had, but clearly I didn't. My story isn't about revenge for revenge's sake. It's about survival, self-respect, and reclaiming my peace. I want anyone reading this who's going through something similar to know you're not alone. It hurts like hell, but it gets better. Maybe not overnight, maybe not easily, but it does. The final act I performed, changing the locks, ending the false hope, and cutting ties, was my way of saying I deserve better, to myself first and foremost. I refuse to be anyone's afterthought or fallback anymore. I choose myself. That's the real victory. So here's what I want you to remember. No matter how deep your heartbreak or how betrayed you feel, take control. Gather your strength. Set your boundaries and don't be afraid to walk away. The most powerful thing you can do is walk away from what no longer serves you and trust that better days are coming. Because they are. And as I close this chapter, I do so with a newfound sense of freedom, the kind that only comes when you stop living for others and start living for yourself. That's when life really begins.